Hello everyone. So on today's video, we are going to talk about Alliance Showdown. So pretty much this event comes like once every 2 weeks, I think, and you could access it by clicking on this events banner at the upper right. And we're going to be looking at Alliance Showdown, this one. So the basics of this event is kind of simple. Each alliance, we're going to be fighting a variety of different states. So we get 3 lanes. There is a left lane, a middle lane, and a right lane. Pretty much we're each going to be registering to one of these lanes. It could fit, we need at least 20 people in each lane. However, more could register. And as you could read from the bottom, registered members who do not participate still get rewards. So make sure that even though you might have like a weak army, still register. That way you'll still be able to get the rewards. So the basics of this is each army will be fighting in one of the 3 lanes. Whoever wins 2 of these lanes will pretty much be victorious. So this is the reason why we're having all the strong players register in either the left lane or the central lane, because we only need 2 lanes to win. So having all of our strong players in just 2 lanes will boost our chances of winning rather than evenly dividing our forces amongst the 3 lanes, because again, we need only 2 to win. So top players to left and center, and then pretty much everyone else could register in the right lane. So registration is pretty simple. Click on a lane, click on send troops, and then you could pretty much just leave this as default, or if you want to be super crazy, you could address your troop composition as well. I like to usually just use whatever heroes are my strongest, but I've also heard that heroes with the siege keyword can also help with this. I have no idea how valid that is, so that's why I'm just leaving everything as default. So once you have this done, make sure you're always at full march capacity. Just click march. And now if I view here, you can see that I am inside. So even though you're marching to a lane, it doesn't actually cost a march slot. I am currently in the economy tree. If you really want to, you could switch over to the war tree when you register, and then just switch back to economy. Because once you register, all your troops are pretty much like saved in at that point in time. So no matter like what skills I choose or like what my march capacity is afterwards, whatever is registered here will stay here, no matter what you do to your chief. So from before, you could kind of tell that my march capacity was 130,000, and my power with that is about 1839. If you really want to become slightly stronger, you could switch to the war economy tree, which I will do right now. Again, what you're looking for is this march capacity. And more importantly, this is the skill that we want to use, Massive March, because once it's used, it's going to increase your march capacity by 10% for 30 minutes. So the strategy is to get the skill, use it to boost your march size, register your troops, and then just reset into economy tree. So you see how right now my march capacity is at 1,000 or 135,000. I'm going to exit here real quick and use my massive march skill. So now it's used. Go back into the event. Manage troops. And now I'm at 149,000. So again, I'm just gonna switch this over to Jeb because he is technically the stronger hero, and do some math or not. Let's go with that. So now if I send this march over, remember that my original composition was 130,000 troops, and my previous power was at 1,839. So now if I send this over, my march is now at 2,023. So if you really want to kind of increase your power, you could do it that way. And again, even though Massive March ends, or like if I swap back to economy, this power is going to remain the same because you're like locking it down at that period in time. And besides that, you could also obviously view other troops to kind of see where the rest of our alliance members are at. So I typically like to balance both lanes. So for example, I can see that there's Azzy, Ragna here, and they're both at 1,000. In center lane, there's Rex, Doctor Who, who's also at 1,000. So right now it's kind of balanced, but if I wanted to switch lanes, I could also do so, right? I could just click on either the left lane or whatever lane you want to go to, and just click switch lanes, and then that's done. It's as simple as that. So switch back and forth depending on how much power our other members are sending. I'll just leave it there. All right, so that's pretty much it for the registration phase. When we actually fight, that is going to be a whole different thing. And also keep in mind that when they fight, it's automatic, so you don't really need to do anything. Unless you are an R4 or a R5, then you could kind of actually switch lanes around and see where the enemy weak lanes are and kind of take advantage of that. Alright, so Showdown Part 2. Now that we've registered as an R4 or leader, you could start to manage the lanes and kind of strategically place us so that we'll win. So we'll go into Alliance Showdown. So I kind of cheated. We are in our last round, but from down here, you can kind of see that our next opponent is going to be FFT, Freedom. So what you could do is go into group ranking, go to rounds, and over here it's going to list all of our progress. So it kind of depends on how detailed you want to go into our opponents. So next round, we're going to be facing FFT. You could go to the previous round to kind of see who they have in their lanes. So FFT fought against the Spartans. So if you click on replay, so you don't have to watch this entire video because it's kind of long and it doesn't really give you a lot of information. What you really want to do is go to this battle report where it's going to pretty much list everyone's power. So click on that. So our main concern is FFT, and what I typically do is go through all three lanes, look through all their guys, and then pretty much just count out who the strongest players are. So keep in mind as you're looking through this battle report, you're going to see duplicates. So like this guy, Bruce. Everyone in Showdown, you register 20 people, but each person can only fight twice, no matter what. If you win the first one, you fight a second one, and then even if you win that, you're automatically out. And that's just to kind of prevent, super whales from just kind of dominating everything. So no matter how powerful you are, you can only fight twice. So that's what happened with this Bruce guy. He won the first time, won the second time, but then he's out. So this Russian guy took over. He also won twice, and then he's out. And it looks like that's what keeps going. So I don't know. Maybe these guys are still super strong. So going through their left lane, if you kind of go through the list, you can start seeing that they have people starting in the 1,000 power, starting from their 11th guy and on. You can kind of assume that because The way this is structured, it always goes from number 1 being the weakest player to number 20, which is going to be the most powerful player. In their central lane, oops, in their central lane, it's slightly weaker, right? Because starting from number 16 is when they start having their 1000 power guy. And then going to the right, scroll down. So from here, I could tell that their right lane is their strongest, right? Because starting from the 10th guy up, all of their guys are 1000 power plus. After I found their strongest lane, what I want to do is put our weakest lane in their strongest lane because that's probably a lane that we're not going to win. So we're just going to put like our weak lane over there. And I'm going to put our two strongest lanes in their left and center because since they're the weaker lanes, most likely our stronger lanes will win them. And again, you only need 2 victories or 2 lanes to win in order to claim victory. So avoid their strong lane and send our people to their 2 weakest lanes, which would be left and central in this case. So as you can kind of tell, left is slightly stronger than their central lane because again, their 1000 power person starts at 11, whereas from here I think it starts at like 16 or something. Yeah. So to manage the troops, exit all of this. And as a R4 or leader, you could manage lanes, which will allow you to. You can't change the individual troop compositions, right? Like whoever is registered in this lane is going to stay registered in this lane. What you could do is manage lane, and you could like swap these lanes around. Right, so you could skip, watch. I don't even. All right, so the way that we do things, we typically stack our strong players in the left lane and central lane, which are the lanes that we want to stay in anyway. And if you remember, their central lane was kind of their weaker one. So I'm gonna leave our weaker lane in the center and then hopefully have our strong wait. Yes, that. So this should pretty much be good as is. Our right lane, our weak lane is going to be fighting their strongest lane, and then our 2 powerful lanes are going to be fighting their 2 weak lanes. Some of this is also luck because we made this one swap, but they may also do a swap on their own, in which case we would be screwed. But that's just gonna be how it is, I suppose. And that's pretty much it. Switching lanes and finding enemy weaknesses.